While I always aim to make building better habits and breaking bad habits fun, I'm not going to sugarcoat the truth. And the truth is, there will always be obstacles along your journey to creating your dream life. There will be times when you question your efforts and you want to give up, and when you misstep or you fall into old patterns. However, there is another truth that I want to share with you. And this is something I tell all of my students and clients when they're learning a new skill. It doesn't get easier, you get better at it. While there are many obstacles that arise when making healthy habits or breaking bad ones, there are nine I see the most frequently as a healthy habit mentor. And I'd love to know, when it comes to creating new habits or breaking bad ones, where do you get stuck? Let me know in the comments of this YouTube video, or you can send me a DM on Instagram. Find me at Val Levine Life. Perhaps your obstacle falls into one of these nine common ones, or maybe yours is completely unique. Let's find out. Before we dive into the details, I do want to mention that every single person out there experiences some sort of setback or speed bump when they're doing something new or making changes to their lives or learning a new skill. And that's what habit formation is. It's a skill to be able to craft new behaviors. Plus, each one of us is very different, and the habits that we want to implement are different too. Trial and error is expected in the process. Being in the business of helping people craft their new behaviors and empowering women and their lifestyles, I follow and see what other people are doing in the industry. And there are a lot of great coaches and creators out there who have the right intentions, but they don't always have the right strategy. People are always out there preaching motivation. And listen, I want you to feel inspired and motivated also, but it isn't long lasting. Typically, motivation is what gets you going, but we learn very quickly that it's not sustainable. The chances are, if you're listening to this podcast or watching this YouTube channel, you already want to make a change. You already want to implement your new behaviors and routines. I feel that it's safe to say, or safe to assume, you're already motivated to start. So focus on what's going to keep you in action and continue to make progress. What is it? It's your why. It's your reason for making a change in the first place. Why do you want to eat healthier? Why do you want to start your own business? Why do you want to get 8 hours of sleep every night? Why do you want to read daily? You get the idea. Ask yourself why. If you've ever worked with me before, you know that I always start with your feeling word. I always ask you, how do you want to feel? And the answer to this question becomes the foundation of why you're doing what you're doing. Because, as I mentioned at the very beginning of this podcast episode, there will be obstacles. And our feeling word is what can anchor, or what we can anchor into, and what we can come back to, even if we can't do the habit that day. For example, you want to feel peaceful, so you create a daily meditation ritual. The habit is to meditate every day for 10 minutes. As you're practicing this habit, you know that there are other moments or scenarios where you feel peaceful, such as when you're taking a shower at the end of the day, or when you're making your favorite dinner or reading a great book. And then one day, you don't have a chance to meditate. You don't have a chance to do that meditation habit, but you were able to find a moment of peace on your lunch break when you took your lunch outside and sat in the sun while you ate. Missing a day of your habit can really put you off track if you don't have a solid foundation. However, you do. You do have a solid foundation. You do have a strong foundation, and you count the day as a small win for still feeling peaceful. These are smaller steps or tiny wins that can really help you build momentum in your habits. Celebrate each of these wins and incentivize yourself along the journey. How can you celebrate a week-long streak of doing your habit, or every day? Or how can you treat yourself at the end of the month for being consistent? This helps a lot too. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Everyone, including you, is unique. And this also means that there isn't a one-size-fits-all approach to starting healthy habits or breaking bad ones. Are there proven methods of building habits? Absolutely. But not knowing which ones are going to support you can be confusing and can be frustrating. It's worth it to educate yourself about the healthy habit you want to start or the bad habit that you want to break. I have this awesome list of book recommendations and they're complementing podcast episodes. If you want the book or the book report, I call it, they're the Cole's Notes version. I'm going to link to them in the show notes page for you at ValerieLevineLife.com/229. And if you're not into reading, that's okay. I've read most of these books already, and the podcast episodes are essentially my take of what I thought were the biggest takeaways and key points. We've got some awesome podcast episodes here with tons of valuable teachings, not just about the books about habits. Plus, a little insider tip, the 21-day Healthy Habit Challenge that I run is being turned into a self-paced course that I am super excited about. At the time of this podcast publishing, it is not ready yet, but it will be out in May 2023. So if you're stumbling upon this episode after that, you can access the course, which has micro lessons, I'm calling them, which are about 1 to 2 minutes long, that help you develop these skills to create a new habit. And this will be available for you at ValerieLevineLife.com/challenge. I'm incredibly excited about the new version of the Healthy Habits Challenge because it allows you to receive the support you need anytime, not just when the challenge is running. And speaking of support, another common obstacle for breaking bad habits or making new habits is lack of support. It can be challenging to make changes without support from family, friends, or community. I've experienced it myself many times. You outgrow your friends, your partners, want different things. And a lot of the time, when you're improving yourself, the people around you aren't necessarily interested in that. Sometimes they want to keep you down. They want to hold you back from your growth because they're not ready for that yet. And straight up, that sucks. Straight up. It can make the process feel way harder. And I would definitely encourage investing in a coach or finding a community to connect with to help you if this is the case for you. Now, that's not always the case, though. A lot of women I've worked with have said that they have been able to share their goals with their partner, their friends, their family, and it's helped them in staying accountable and getting extra encouragement and support from their community. It's worth mentioning your goals to the people that you surround yourself with because it might inspire them to make their own healthy changes. Best case scenario, we're growing together. One of the main reasons why we have these bad habits in our lives is because they've been birthed out of the need to respond to stress. For instance, biting our nails, doom scrolling on social media, eating a lot of sugar, etc. I'm sure you can list a few examples that you've coped with stress in the past or maybe in the present. When I asked the audience, when it comes to your habits, where do you get stuck? One of our community members, Amelia, replied, when stress pulls me back into bad habits, especially the thought, I deserve this fun thing. Ooh, there is so much to unpack here in this one sentence. And if you can relate to Amelia, I highly recommend booking a clarity call with me for your next steps. You can go to ValerieLevineLife.com/clarity to schedule that. But what I do want to highlight something from what Amelia said, which is this dual relationship with the bad habit that keeps us stuck in this vicious cycle. From working with Amelia, I know that the fun thing that she's referring to is sugar and treats. Amelia wants to eat less sugar. This is her bad habit. But the problem is that she also thinks of sugar as this fun thing. And our minds think fun equals good. So there is this duality of fun and bad. And she's trapped in this cycle of breaking the bad habit, but deserving fun, which undoubtedly causes more stress. So if you're someone who can recognize the stress in your life, your mind, your body, then I would encourage you to consider practices and rituals that help with stress management. So I know this might sound backwards, but forget about the sugar. Eat as much sugar as you want to. Work on your stress management. Work at finding more fun in your life that aren't sugar. So once you find this new habit of stress management, or for Amelia, finding fun in her life, I want you to think of something you can do daily, something tiny. For example, if you are looking at like a mindfulness practice, taking 3 breaths or more, mindful breaths every morning, every night, having a designated no tech time or going outside for some fresh air and sunshine, going to bed at the same time every night, daily movement. These are all things that our body needs at a survival level that will also help us with our stress management. But there's this intention behind it to help us with our stress. And again, I know it sounds backwards. Don't worry about the sugar. But I've done this with clients before. We don't focus on the sugar. We don't focus on the wine. We don't focus on the bad habits. We focus on something we can do every single day that's going to build us up. And there's a lot more to that. And I feel like this should be its own podcast episode. So we might circle back to this one. Maybe I'll get Amelia on here again. The problem with stress is that we're always going to have some sort of stress in our lives. And if we don't address it, our physical body will start responding to it. And eventually the body will make us have to pay attention to what's going on. And we'll have to address it. Some of the women I work with are entrepreneurs, business owners, and these women are incredibly talented leaders. And yet they often come up against a common barrier, the fear of failure. While I tend to witness this with women who are earlier in their businesses, as we elevate in our business, we have new barriers to overcome. And they often have the same underlying fears. Heck, I've been there. I've actually can think of many times where I've held myself back because I didn't want to fail or I didn't want to fall flat on my face. And someone who has blazed a few trails, I can tell you that I have definitely tripped, fallen, made mistakes, but I always get back up. And now, not always, but sometimes I do feel excited to take the leap, to trip, to get back up again. And there are 2 quotes that I think of when a client is struggling with this obstacle and they're completely frozen in their fear of failure. And the quote is, "But what if I fall? Oh, my darling, but what if you fly?" It's almost like I can feel the wind under my wings as I read that. And I'm reminded of that through this quote. Like this new life is breathed into me. I love it. The other quote is by Henry Ford, who said, "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." And when I hear that quote, I think to myself, well, better shift my mindset to I can then. I think of all the times I've worked with people who have said, I can't do that. But how do you know? How do you know unless you try? Don't let anybody hold you back, especially not yourself. Because listen, if you're going to learn something from this episode today, it's learn from my own mistakes. Don't hold yourself back. The likelihood of your habit becoming automatic overnight is low. Remember that mistakes and setbacks is a natural part of the process, and we can learn from our failures along the way. Tracking your progress helps keep the wind in your sails, and it helps you build that momentum. You've just got to start. Just start. And before you say, I don't have time, I know I've heard it before and I've said it before. The truth is, we do have time. We aren't prioritizing our time. That's what's happening. That's the problem. This obstacle reminds me of another quote or parable that goes, everyone should meditate for 2 minutes a day. And if you don't have 2 minutes, then you should meditate for 2 hours. It makes me giggle. What a slap in the face. What gets scheduled is what gets done. If you want to change your behaviors, put them into your calendar, make them part of your routine. Yes, even 2-minute rituals. If they're not fitting into your life, how do you expect to do them? How do you expect to achieve those results? And it might be a really great indicator of making something a little bit smaller. Maybe you had this amazing vision of reading for 30 minutes every single day in your lunch, but you only get 30 minutes for lunch. So how are you going to eat and read for 30 minutes? So you switch it to a page a day, right? We're learning so much through the process. And that's part of that tweaking. Listen, the struggle is real when it comes to breaking bad habits because once a habit has been formed, It's unlikely to be forgotten. When it comes to the obstacle of temptation, it's easier to avoid temptation than it is to resist it. So, what is the temptation of the bad habit and how can you avoid it? Are you working on breaking your no sugar after dinner habit? How can you mix up your evening routine so that your ice cream is invisible? Here's a pro tip. Your ice cream might be tucked away in the basement freezer now, but what about the cue or the trigger that tells you it's time for ice cream? Does sitting on the couch to watch a show prompt you to get a scoop of ice cream or get the scooper itself? What behaviors can you change that are related to the cue of the habit that you're trying to break? Start there. When I asked our Instagram community what their biggest struggle was with making and breaking their habits, Candace admitted that consistency or lack thereof was where she struggled most. Consistency is an essential part of habit formation, especially when you're starting something new. With inconsistency, it can be tough to see the progress you're making, and the momentum is a lot slower without consistency. This obstacle is where I encourage my clients to pull out all the bells and whistles, literally. Set timers, alarms, reminders, triggers, and cues in your environment that prompt you for your new behavior or prompt this new routine and behavior and habit. Mark the calendar or your tracker every day that you complete the action. Ramp up your check ins with your accountability partner, hire a coach, build out an attainable plan, and or scale back before you grow the habit. The go big or go home method is trash, and tiny steps forward over time will bring you closer to your goals faster. Take it from a healthy habit mentor. No one goes big and makes it to the finish line. We've got to start small and then allow the habit to grow or to multiply. Speaking of going big or going home, this is actually bringing me to our last obstacle that I want to share, which is unrealistic expectations. I see this the most with the clients who set out for big goals and new behaviors, like reading 10 pages a day or a chapter of the book a day, or waking up 2 hours earlier than they do now, or writing an entire book by next week. These unrealistic expectations can lead to disappointment and frustration, making it more challenging to stick to our healthy habits or break our bad ones. It's a vicious cycle of going around and around without learning the lessons. We can't keep doing the same things over and over again and expect different results. Some would call that insanity. So what can we do? Set realistic goals and expectations. Number one, remember that change takes time and there will be ups and downs throughout the journey. Celebrate the progress after each step and along the way. And then build the foundation of your new habits, routines, behaviors, rituals, and grow them from there. Another community member, Jana, shared, I want the instant results. And if I'm not getting them, I'm over it. When I'm working with a client who feels the same way, we scale back big time. We make the habit as tiny as possible, and we really highlight the celebration or the reward at the end of this tiny habit. Completing small actions and achieving these small wins over and over again is going to help you level up, especially here with Jana's confidence. And we can really see and really build our habit from there, making the goal then bigger as the confidence grows and the ability to do the habit grows. Okay. Which of these obstacles really hit home for you? How will you show up for yourself in your new habits? Or how will you overcome the obstacles for breaking those bad habits? Let me know in the comments of this video or share it with me in a DM on Instagram at Val Levine Life. If you love this show, please subscribe wherever you're consuming, and let's do this again next week.